This is one of my GoldenEar Triton 7s. I've owned these speakers for, I'm going to say, going on 7 years. And they are my favorite speaker, the favorite speakers that I've ever owned. They're simply fantastic speakers. As you can see, they look kind of high right here because I have them right now on I set them on a coffee table just so they look better on camera. So yeah, these speakers consist of two 5 1/4 mid-bass drivers and GoldenEar's famous ribbon tweeter. So again, this speaker is a two-way design. Speakers also use the Audiophile speaker array, which is mid-bass, tweeter, mid-bass. You know, over the years it's been proven to be a very effective speaker driver arrangement, I should say. The cabinet's very dense. These are definitely constructed very well. So GoldenEar claims that these speakers extend all the way down to 29 Hertz and all the way up to 35 kilohertz, I should say, which is well beyond what the human ear can perceive. Part of the reason why they can extend so low is because these speakers feature two 8-inch planar passive radiators. I think I mentioned in another video that my definitive technology BP8080 STs were my most powerful speakers, and that's true. They do perform a little better, but these are my go-to speakers for listening to like stereo content. I have them connected to my Macintosh stereo, and I use them also connected to an Onkyo, I believe it's the 8030 RZ. In order to use these speakers with both my Macintosh stereo and my Onkyo like home theater receiver, I have them connected to like an amp switcher, and I can switch the speakers, just the towers, to be connected, so I can listen to the Macintosh stereo or flip them back, and I can use them in my home theater system in the same room. So they're kind of pulling double duty, but they are very versatile speakers, and they do well in both scenarios. I also have them hooked up, like I mentioned, I have them hooked up to my multi-channel setup. I have them hooked up to the GoldenEar SuperCenter XL, and along with some SB2000s, not the Pros, but the 2000s. They don't have the DSP or anything. And I have, and I'm using just Polk audio, like Atmos in-ceiling speakers in the ceiling. So I have a 5.2.4 system in this room. The home theater experience is fantastic as well. I do prefer them more as a stereo speaker. I have them set at a 60 Hertz crossover with my subwoofer, even though they do extend a little past that. I took a measurement of the frequency response in my room. Your mileage may vary, but in my room they kind of started falling off pretty dramatically around 40 Hertz. So it's pretty solid for a speaker with just two 5 1/4 mid-bass drivers. I have them set apart, I'm gonna say maybe 8 or 9 feet apart, and I probably have them towed in about 1 or 2 degrees, so not too much. I sit about, I'm gonna say maybe 10 feet away. I should note that I took measurements throughout the room, and I moved the microphone in different listening positions, and I noticed that the frequency response in my room was very consistent. Didn't vary very much. So I think these speakers, there's some speakers you kind of need to be in a sweet spot in order to get their best sound, but these, according to my test, don't appear to be, they're a little more flexible when it comes to where you need to sit in order to get the best sound possible. That's another good thing about them. Okay, so this is the bass response in my room. As you can see, there's a pretty big null here, and like I said earlier, it drops off around, I'm going to say this is about 43 Hertz. It starts dropping off. You got pretty solid output at 40, around 40, and it doesn't drop off much more, even all the way down to 29 Hertz, which is what they're rated at. So you're still getting pretty good output at 29 Hertz, which is what GoldenEar claims. After that, it kind of goes pretty low. From here to here, that's a pretty dramatic drop. But you do have some output at like 20 Hertz, but it's mostly, this is pretty solid output at 30 Hertz. Now I'm gonna throw in my my dual SB2000s, and you can kind of see that this null still exists when I'm running some SVS pretty powerful subs, and obviously the bass extension goes way deeper into. You're still getting 90 decibels at 10 hertz, which is incredible. And that's where I only measured from 10 hertz to 120 hertz for here. One thing I wish GoldenEar would do is implement like a three-way design speaker. I know they do that in their powered line. They have, I'm gonna say, well, they have the Triton 3, the 2, the 1, and the reference, and they all feature powered subwoofers, kind of like my Definitive Technology speakers. So they have three-way speakers in that form, but I kind of wish they develop a passive three-way speaker with a mid-range, tweeter and mid-bass drivers, or bass drivers actually. So yeah, that's kind of a gripe. I guess one of my gripes is it's probably not the nicest speaker to have with the bare drivers out, because you basically use it with a sock. You kind of have to decide, do you want the sock on or off? A lot of speakers these days, they have like magnetic grills that you can take on or off, and you don't even see the little holes. Personally, I always keep the sock on because I actually have kids, and I bought these when I had toddlers, and I feel like the sock or the speaker mesh kind of provides a little bit of protection. So yeah, I recently, I've had these speakers, like I said, like 7 years, but I recently took them on, kind of did some critical listening with them again. I listened to like rock and roll, like Radiohead, listened to Belle and Sebastian, Kings of Leon, if you're into that. I also listened to some jazz, like Kamasi Washington, and some classical music. I listened to the Phantom Thread soundtrack, which is beautiful, with Johnny Greenwood produced the music for that movie, and it's a really nice record. So the best way to explain these speakers when I'm listening to them is they kind of disappear into the room. You can almost picture, you close your eyes and you picture that the rock band is playing in your room with you. The dynamic range that these speakers have is just mind-blowing. They also have really punchy and tight bass. They're not boomy at all. They have very long excursion drivers. That's why they're 5¼ inch drivers, yet they can play down to about 40 hertz. They form a very good phantom center. They're just balanced and not fatiguing to listen to for long periods of time. My final thoughts. After 7 years of great service, I'm going to go ahead and recommend these speakers at $1,600. I think they're still a really good value given the amount of performance you get. I think you would need to spend at least 2 to 3 times what these speakers cost, which are currently going for $1,600 a pair, in order to get an appreciable difference in sound quality. So I hope you found this video helpful and informative, and if you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. It's a really good indicator, and it shows me whether or not you like the content.